This 80-year-old woman did not know what hit her when she found this time capsule hidden in a secret compartment of her attic. It was hidden away by an elaborate mechanical system of wires and gears. But once she found it and opened it up, she knew her life would never be the same again. She started shaking and burst into tears. Before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. The sun had barely begun to crest the hills as Angela, an 80-year-old woman with a spirit far more youthful than her 80 years might suggest, opened her sleepy blue eyes. The room was part of a larger two-story house, quaint and nestled amidst a grove of old oak trees, built brick by her father some 90 years ago. Resisting the idea of moving to a nursing home, Angela insisted on living independently for as long as she could. Her children visited on weekends, and then the house was filled with laughter. Still, she reveled in her solitude, finding joy in the quiet moments of life. Beneath the still sleeping canopy of ancient oaks, Angela made her way to the tree that she held most dear. There was something magical about it, she felt, something intangible that connected her to her past, to her father, and to her own youth. Today, she was to bake an apple pie, the recipe a sweet secret handed down through generations. It was a secret that would prompt Angela to journey through the corridors of her memory. Angela, the sun's rays reflecting off her silver hair, reached her front door. She stepped inside, her heart content. It was after placing the pie in the oven that the thought of the attic nudged her mind. She could not remember the last time she had been up there. The attic was filled with relics of the past, remnants of the lives that once thrived in the house. And since she had spent the morning living in nostalgia, it seemed like the perfect time for a visit. Angela gingerly climbed the creaky steps to the attic. The scent of old wood and dust greeted her as she swung open the small door. The attic was cluttered with artifacts, each one a symbol of the lives that once touched this house. Lost in her thoughts, Angela walked around the attic. Her foot suddenly hit something and a loud creak resonated through the room. She looked down to find a loose wooden floorboard bending and creaking beneath her feet. Curiosity piqued. She nudged the plank with her foot, and to her surprise it moved, revealing a hidden compartment. But at its very center, there lay an inconspicuous-looking metal button. Unfamiliarity and anticipation swirled within her. All these years living in the house, how could she have missed this? Without further contemplation, she pressed the button. A subtle vibration traveled under her feet, and then all was still again. Nothing happened, or so it seemed at first, but as Angela turned to leave, disappointed, she noticed a change, her heart pounding with anticipation. The wallpaper seemed to have loosened from one end, letting a breeze into the old, musky space. She removed the poster, and there behind it she saw an opening where a plank used to be. It had shifted from left to right on some sort of rolling mechanism. Did her pushing of the button do this? It was like a small, hidden hatch into a secret part of the house she never knew about. She pushed her hand into the opening that was now available to her. Beyond it was darkness, and as she stepped inside, Angela was about to embark on a journey into a new chapter of her life, a chapter she never knew existed. She was, after all, the daughter of a man of mysteries, a man whose life was filled with stories untold and memories unshared. Her father, Thomas, had been a teacher by trade, but an inventor by passion. His workshop was always filled with an array of tools, half-completed inventions and blueprints, and was a place of wonder for young Angela. As she felt around inside the hole in the wall, her fingers brushed against something cold and metallic. What could it be? As she studied the object, she noticed something that sent shivers down her spine. An inscription, scratched into the rusted surface in a handwriting that she would recognize anywhere. Her father's handwriting. She read aloud, "To my apple blossom, use the key to your heart." 1,000 thoughts swirled around her mind as she repeated the words. Was this a message left by her father? Angela felt an overpowering need to unravel the mystery. Suddenly she remembered. When she turned 6 years old, her father gave her a key necklace with a heart-shaped handle. Could this be the key he was referring to? With a sense of urgency, she rummaged through her drawer until she found it, the key. A wave of nostalgia washed over her as she held the key in her hand. She felt connected to her father, a warmth that she had not felt in years. With the key in her hand, she returned to the attic. Taking a deep breath, she inserted the key into the opening of the tube. It fit perfectly. She turned it, and with a soft click, The tube sprung open. Inside was a smaller, more delicate tube wrapped in a soft, faded cloth. As she unwrapped it, a small object tumbled onto her lap. What lay there was a piece of her past, a piece of her father's soul. The tube held an old photograph, a sketch, and a letter. She unfolded the letter with trembling hands, recognizing instantly the loopy script that had addressed the envelope to her childhood nickname, Apple Blossom. The paper was yellowed with age and felt fragile in her old hands. Angela carefully spread it out and began to read, her heart hammering in her chest. The letter was dated 25 years ago, a year before her father's death. It started simply, "To my dearest Angela, my apple blossom," and launched into a heartfelt recounting of her childhood. Memories flooded back as Angela read, her father's voice seeming to echo in her ears with every word she read. He spoke of her as a toddler, running around in the yard, climbing the apple tree before she was even big enough to reach the lowest branch. He told her how he marveled at her spirit, her determination. He spoke of the days they spent in his workshop, her little hands trying to imitate his skilled ones, her laughter echoing around the room. He expressed regret for not being there enough, for letting his work consume him, and his desire to make it right. Tears welled up in her eyes as she continued reading, each line revealing more about her father's emotions than she had ever known. The letter ended with an apology. "I know I haven't been the perfect father, Apple Blossom, but my love for you has never waned. I hope one day you'll understand why I did the things I did, why I pushed you away when I should have pulled you close." The weight of her father's words made Angela's heart ache. Next, she turned her attention to the photograph. It was a black and white image of her as a young child, sitting on her father's lap in his workshop. Her young face was lit up in a smile, her eyes full of admiration for the man who was her world. It was a blueprint of her father's most ambitious project ever. It was a beautiful wooden carousel. He had planned to build it in their backyard for Angela's 6th birthday, but he never did. In the corner, written in his neat handwriting, were the words, "For Angela, my biggest inspiration." Angela wept like she was that little 6-year-old girl again. She forgave her father immediately, but that was not all she did. She decided to honor her father's legacy to her and took the blueprints to her son. He was not an inventor like her father was, but he was a skilled carpenter. And with his help, she built the carousel designed by her father. Now, it finally had its rightful place in the garden. Angela loved it, and it made her feel closer to her father than ever before. It was a symbol of the love he had for her, a testament to the fatherly words he had a hard time pronouncing. But now she could look at it forever, and her grandchildren loved it as well. Every weekend, the garden was filled with laughter, spinning around in that beautiful carousel.